This is Barbara Lowe with the Ephemera Society of America, and I'm here interviewing Valerie Jackson Harris about her career as a dealer in ephemera. Valerie recently resigned as the chairman of the Ephemera Society, the original Ephemera Society in England, and she's been participating in the Ephemera Society of America fairs from the very start. She's had a long and illustrious career. She's one of the leading ephemera dealers in the country, in the world, I want to say, and has been in the business for over 60 years. So I'd like to start out by saying, hi, Valerie.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in the world of ephemera.
Well, it came by because I couldn't stop it. I was born to it. And my parents and grandparents, they all dealt with ephemera in different ways. So that's how it all started.
What made you choose ephemera as opposed to other types of antiques that your family was in the business of?
Because they were doing all the what I call larger items of silver,
Silver.
gold, all that sort of thing. I just wanted to be different.
Oh,
And also it connected with my world of ballet. So
well,
that's how it started.
so what attracted you to these little bits of paper?
They gave me information that I could understand and picture with the dancers with all sorts of people because I wasn't really good at what the others were doing. And it was something different. They weren't doing it, I was.
Oh,
So
okay. All right.
that's how it came through to me as something that none of my brothers or sisters had done.
Okay, because
So,
they all specialized in other things.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what does ephemera mean to you? How do you define it?
Oh, that's very difficult. Uh, Form of knowledge, a form of artistry, and a form of just looking at something far more beautiful than you can really imagine, because it can be the first time you ever see an item. You think, how did somebody make that? How did it come about? It doesn't, and so a lot of people, it never makes sense.
And how do you distinguish between ephemera and not ephemera?
You can't sort of distinguish it. It's just there. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just there. You see an item and you think that is amazing, that is beautiful, and to a lot of other people it doesn't mean a thing. But that one item can make all the difference when you see it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it all starts. And remember,
So
there is no known cure.
we've all learned that. So basically, you would define it as a piece of paper or a document that kind of tells a story.
Yes, and it comes alive. All of a sudden, you see this very strange piece of paper. I'm not the world's best reader. That's my big problem. I'm not the world's best reader, but I can look at an image and think, my God, who did that? Who painted it? Who drew it? Who had the idea to bring it alive? And that's what I found so amazing.
So what interests you is really its historic value, the story it's telling, and the quality of the imagery and
Yes, yes,
and the printing itself.
yes, and the skill of doing it, the skill of how did something that you dreamt about come about? You needed paint, you needed all sorts of things to get that image together. And that's how it started with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so where did you find your first ephemera items?
Uh, oh, that's like asking me how long's a piece of string, because I saw so many things. There is no way of saying what's the first, because I probably started when I was about 2 or 3 years old because I just pick it up and
You just saw a piece of paper and
Piece of
said, "This looks
yeah,
interesting."
and I just looked at it and played with it.
Mhm.
And
Because
unlike a lot of children, I didn't throw it away.
yeah, because when you started, really, the ephemera as a category didn't exist,
Well, it
did
hadn't
it?
existed. No, nobody. Most people didn't even have a clue what ephemera was.
Hmm.
And I used to go to with my father sometimes an auction room, and they were dealing in silver, gold, and everything else. And there was a great big box, and it had been literally thrown in. The paper stuff had been thrown in. No one wanted it, and I would go in and look through it and take bits out of it, and they would dump it. The people would dump it. They just didn't want it, so I took it home. And that was half the fun.
When when was the first time that you knew you could make a business of it? Like, do you remember a big sale that you had,
No,
or?
there's always been a business with it because that started from when I was born.
Mm.
My parents were dealers, and they would deal in paper with my brother and my sisters. We dealt with antiques, we dealt with paper.
Hmm.
So whatever came in, we just took that information and those images. It was there. It's just I can't explain
But
it.
initially, didn't your dad think you were kind of,
Oh, he thought I was mad.
oh,
I mean, let's be honest, because he couldn't understand how he was dealing in gold, silver, and that sort of thing, right? My twin sister was dealing in what I call metals, and all sorts of rare
textiles and
and,
things?
and anything, yes, rare things,
Hmm.
but not so much of paper.
Hmm.
And because they were dealing in it, I wanted to be different. So, and that's how I started. I just saw these things, and also one of the other big ways of doing it was I had a lot of paper to do with ballet and how people danced and how people moved.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things that caught my eye. You know,
So what's the way that you have usually sold? Is it in a shop? Is it at fairs?
I
Is
used to
it?
have a shop. I had my own shop in the West End, and then all the things happened. The taxes got so large and everything else like that. So I went and did things at fairs, and I enjoyed it more than being stuck in a
In a
shop.
shop all day?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I closed that down, and it got too expensive as well. I
Hmm.
closed that down, and I went traveling around, and that meant I could travel all around the world basically because I didn't have a shop to worry about.
Oh,
That's
yeah, that's a big advantage. You
that's
didn't
not
have to
that's
worry about being there every
yeah,
Saturday or whatever.
yeah, yes. So
Yeah.
it was more fun that way of
Hmm.
doing it. That's how I started, and it meant I met more people as well.
Oh, okay.
That was the other thing. So
So you have been doing this for over 60 years.
yes,
How, because I mean, really, as a category of ephemera, you were there pretty much at the beginning when ephemera started being recognized as its own distinct category.
well, see, this is again another illusion people have. Paper items have always been looked at, right from probably the 14th century. Paper has been there and used, and people didn't throw it away because they thought this is something rare. So that they kept it, people kept it. And it was only when we could do printing with machines that we really it let go. Until then, most people had never seen writing, that most people couldn't write or anything else because they couldn't afford it.
Hmm.
They hadn't learned it, couldn't afford it, and they went on working.
Hmm.
Um, but people who were lucky got that chance. And then, of course, eventually we all got education, which and that most people today think, oh, that's the thing that's happened years and years ago. No, it didn't. It only happened sort of overall, maybe couple of 100 years ago that people understood
Mhm.
doing things like that, but it didn't last, you know.
So how has the business changed since you got in it?
Oh, completely. I mean, you now have a chance of finding things that A, you didn't know existed. That was one thing. And B, that you had a chance of actually owning it because it was small enough or you could afford to do it, you know,
Mhm.
to buy something that you loved and you had that money. You could buy pictures on a wall for a few pence. But years and years ago, you couldn't do that because you wouldn't have had the money to do it with.
Yeah.
Um,
But from a business standpoint, I mean, dealing at fairs or dealing with shops or private sales. And then you had the internet and places like eBay and all that. And so, do you think the internet has changed it
oh,
for the good or for the bad?
both.
Mm.
Sadly to say, both.
Yeah.
Because you've got people who have never gone to an auction, never gone to really look at stuff on the outside. But to me, if you don't pick up the piece of paper, you really don't know what it is. Sorry, you've got to feel paper. You've got to know who printed this item, how did they print it, and without that, you're stuck. You'll never ever know.
Yeah.
And some people never see a piece of actual paper. It's sent all around the place
Hmm.
on machines and everything, but they never see it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, one of the things that you taught me a number of years ago is that you can tell when something's not right by feeling the paper, touching the paper, looking at the printing, looking at the images, and do they all match? Does the paper and the printing and the image match? Because, like, if you have modern paper, but you have an image that is like from the 1880s on modern paper, that's not a right thing.
But yeah, but you can also have it the other way around. You can have the old paper, but you know something's wrong when the paint on the paper is
New.
too new. It doesn't
Yeah.
look right. Doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Paper has to feel right, and you get this. You can know when you're feeling it and when you're seeing it. It just it's you know it's wrong. I can't explain that to people, but you just know it's wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as the more you do it, the more you work at it, the
Hmm.
more you'll know it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I
so
mean, and that's one of the ways that when you've been doing this for a while, you can spot a forgery is because it's not the right combination.
yes,
It's like you said, new paint on old paper,
yeah,
or
yeah. But that's a skill, and
yeah,
that takes time to learn and to see. And when anybody says we all make mistakes, if anybody says they've never made a mistake, don't believe a word of it because it's not true. You know?
yes,
Well,
we all have.
yes. I've been to people in museums who've asked me, "How can you tell?" And we get talking, and then we all of a sudden say, "Yeah, it isn't right, is it?" We just all we have to agree that it's
Yeah,
you know you can't just say to somebody, "Oh, that's wrong,"
yeah.
because you don't really know. You have to.
So, what kind of items do you like to specialize in? I mean, there's so many different categories of ephemera and areas of it. What is your favorites?
Well, my favourite period is the 17th and 18th century
Hmm.
because it's all done, you know, by hand, normally with skill that we don't have today.
Hmm.
But you can't say what's your best because you just need that one spot that comes towards you.
Right.
You
But
know,
I mean, um, like some people specialize in maps. Some people specialize in prints. Some people specialize in Valentines.
I
Some
know
people,
somebody who does them.
yeah, you've taught me a lot about Valentines. Advertise. What do you enjoy?
I've never
Royalty?
No, I've never had one subject.
So you're really a generalist.
Yes, I just look at the item,
Mhm,
and it can be a Valentine, because I know you love Valentines, but I will look at that one single Valentine and think, that's it.
mhm,
That's the perfect piece. Or I can turn around and look at pieces to do with military, and there's an incredible man standing there with guns and everything. And you think, my God, that's incredible. That man must have lived like this.
mhm.
And that's what fascinates me.
Yeah, seeing a
It's,
print that is really representative of,
yes,
yeah. One of the things that I like about ephemera is that it, unlike what you read in a textbook, which is A, really condensed down, and B, uh, they've cleaned it up. Ephemera really is that moment in time. It's a snapshot of that moment in time.
exactly.
And it can be good, it can be
Yes.
bad, it can be ugly,
Yeah.
it can be beautiful.
It's that piece that gets to you.
Yeah.
Nobody else, just you. You see something there and you think, how was that? Either how was that done, or who did it, or it's just beautiful. There's no other word to say,
Mm-hmm.
because it's captured your eye, and you, sometimes you will never know why that happened.
Yeah.
You just saw an image.
Yeah.
And you fell in love with it.
Now, you really don't collect. You have a couple of favorite pieces
Yeah.
that you've hung on to over the years, but you're a dealer,
Yes.
and a dealer deals.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So what
It's half the fun.
yeah. But what was there anything that made you just say, yeah, I'm going to be a dealer, and what I'm going to do is find the items and present them to the marketplace so that other people can collect them?
Well, as I said before, I was born into it. So
Mhm.
there was no, am I going to do something? It was there all our lives.
Oh,
The
okay.
paper was always there. My
Mhm.
father, though he wasn't a paper dealer in any way, there was always paper there.
Mhm.
And even when we were younger, the chaps used to say to my father, "Tell your daughter there's a box of paper. We don't want it. See if she wants any of it."
Mhm.
Because people weren't using it. They didn't
Yeah.
care. It was 18th, 17th, and 18th century. Yes, some of the dealers wanted it, but once it got later, then a lot of them didn't want any of it.
Yeah.
Which I was very pleased about.
So, what's been your favorite way to acquire stock? I mean,
Oh, going to fairs,
going to fairs,
and talking to people. Yeah, I think that's the best. For me, that was the best way of doing it.
and you find somebody that's, I've got this box of stuff that we discovered
Yes.
in the attic.
Yes.
Can you tell me about
people
it?
used to, and still do. They phone me and say, we've got this, it belonged to our parents, but we're not interested in it. We
Mhm.
don't know what it is.
Mhm.
And I love going to see it. It's not so much done today because more people know about it.
Yeah.
But years ago, there wasn't that many. And so we would go and have a look. And some people got it right, and some people would come up with things that was so amazing that we in our family, we told them the truth, that something was exceedingly rare.
Yeah.
But that happened to me. The most important one was this family called us to say that they'd had some things. Was I interested in it? And I said, well, yes, I'd love to come and have a look. And when I got there, it was a great, big, huge box, a wooden box. And when we opened it, I couldn't believe it. There was things in there, 16th, 17th, 18th century. And in the end, I had to phone um, the museum. For the moment, I've forgotten the name of the museum.
V&A.
Probably it was the V&A, one of them.
Yeah.
I really can't remember which one it was. and it eventually went down into to somewhere in central London. And for the first time ever, I didn't ask for any money because I knew it had to go to the museum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Didn't you find stuff in there that from Queen Elizabeth the first?
We found it was
Yeah.
so much stuff there, and the period of what was there was remarkable.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I got a few of us got to be worried. Was it stolen?
Oh,
Because that's the impression.
because it was so rare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, it wasn't. It came from this particular family, and it was all traced.
Hmm.
And I think that took about 3 years to organise and
Yeah.
sort out. And I just handed it over to them. I said, because it should be in a museum. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be sold out without people knowing what it is.
And at the other end of the spectrum, I remember um, they once published an article in the, I think it was the Antique Gazette, where they talked about the first Christmas card. And they, in the article, they cited you and wrote down your name and put your phone number down. And I believe you received a few phone calls from people after that where they had discovered the first Christmas card in their house.
Yes, yes,
And
which is not true. You know, I mean, there were so many first Christmas cards you couldn't believe it.
yeah,
You know?
didn't some of them have Hallmark on the back?
It was very, very funny, you know. But even my own father, years before, had a knock on the door with somebody discovering a thing that was made years before. No, it was totally wrong. You know, but you have to explain this to people.
Yeah,
It's a thing that our family's always done.
yeah,
You know, when anybody's ever brought anything into the shop at one time, because our family had a shop in Portobello Road, and we still partly have, but we would look at the item, and that's the first thing we said: is it actually a genuine item?
right.
Sometimes you had to look at it very carefully because fakes were a known thing and still are,
Hmm.
but they're easier to discover nowadays than they used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah, and thank goodness we don't. As far as I'm aware, I don't know about other people. We don't get as many of those sort of things as it used to happen.
yeah.
You know.
But you never know when somebody walks up to you at a fair or in the shop or something, and they bring you something. Is this going to be just, a Hallmark Christmas card from 3 years ago, or is it going to be some original
Yeah,
document from
you
300 years
you
ago?
can never know. You can
Yeah,
never know what you're going to get
yeah.
because it's
It's
that.
kind of the fun of it too.
Yes, and it's that. How long's a piece of string? Because you just see this item and you think that looks interesting, and other times you know automatically it's wrong.
Hmm.
It's a nice thing, but it was only done yesterday. It was
Yeah,
not an old. It wasn't an old object. But the ordinary person, they don't know that. Why would they?
yeah,
It's a thing that takes time, and looking at it day after day. I mean, we've held images for years. My sister still has one. We can't we can't say that's right. We can't say it's wrong. We can't say it's right either because no one knows.
yeah.
It's
Well, you still do research and stuff.
yes.
Um, so do you have any advice or recommendations that you would give for new dealers getting started today or new collectors?
The most important thing you can do is go to a museum and walk around it and look at the items first.
Hmm.
Because without that piece of knowledge, you'll never know. Because you have to look at the things that they know are right. And then you start looking around and go into when there's fairs on and anything. You don't have to buy anything, just go and have a look, you know. And if something just catches your eye, you think, well, that's beautiful, that I can work on to see if it is old or if it isn't. You know, it's a form of learning, and it takes all of us. I mean, I get things I don't know what they are, I mean, you could hand me a piece that's about oh, this is where I get stuck. uh, History sometimes, and I don't know about it
Yeah.
because I've never studied that deep.
Yeah. I think what you've always said is that the most important thing is to buy what you like, especially if you're a collector,
Hmm.
and to, focus on developing an area of expertise.
Yes,
Like, as an example, for me, I'm very uncomfortable with stamps. There's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge about stamps. I'm not one of them.
I'm not one of them either.
So I avoid that area.
Yes, yes.
But the
But you need
areas,
to know, if you can, know a little bit about it,
right.
because you need to know a dateline. Is it old or not?
Right.
That's but the very detailed stuff can take you a lifetime trying to learn
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
And really, you want to find an area to specialize in that you're interested in.
yes, yes,
If you're interested in World War I memorabilia,
yeah,
then you should focus on that.
yes.
If you're interested in Victorian fashions, then focus there.
But always try to cover everything.
Cover a broader spectrum.
Yes, yes, yeah,
But if you like an area, that's a
yeah.
good place to
But
start.
the most important thing is to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's ephemera. It's not a medical thing. It's not anything scientific. It's ephemera.
Yeah.
And ephemera should be a joy to be with and look at and work with. It's
I had a dealer tell me once, I was talking with her and I said, gee, I'd really like to see your collection. And she spread out her arms and pointed to her booth and she said, this is my collection. And I enjoy it while I have it. And when
mm,
it moves on to another collector because
yes,
they love it, I'm happy to see it go. But I enjoy it while it's here
yes,
before I sell it.
yes,
And I
exactly.
thought, what a great attitude to
Yeah,
have
yes.
as a dealer,
Basically,
because
that's how I deal.
yeah.
I don't keep everything, otherwise I can barely move around the house now without buying more. So it comes to you. You know when you think, okay, that's enough. I'll keep that one, but I'll
Mhm.
sell the others because I can't get in the house anymore.
You're tripping over boxes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Understood. All right. Well, thank you for talking to us today.
Welcome.
And I hope you enjoyed chatting.
We'll just keep looking.
Okay. Thanks.